Hey, it's Rob Jackson with Fandroid.com, and this is our review of the Motorola Droid Pro for Verizon Wireless. When you look at the Droid Pro, you see this full front-facing portrait QWERTY keyboard and the screen on top, and you think, hey, this is a BlackBerry, but it isn't. It's an Android phone, and it's the first mainstream phone that really, it seems, targeted towards that BlackBerry market. So BlackBerry users, pay attention. The keyboard itself is pretty good. You'll notice the contour in the keys. They are flush, they are a little bit small, but Motorola's added contour in them so you can feel them and so that you're coming in at a good angle when you're typing. So portrait QWERTY users will be able to jump right into this and have no problem banging stuff out. If you're not used to the portrait QWERTY, it might take a little bit of getting used to, but BlackBerry users will be able to jump right in and feel at home on Android, which is pretty cool. Of course, you've got 3 rows of letters here. The numbers and special symbols can be easily accessed by pressing this Alt button. You've also got a dedicated voice search key, dedicated period key, dedicated @ sign, and then delete and enter. So overall, the functionality of the keyboard is nice. I personally felt the keyboard was a little bit cramped for my own taste, but one thing that takes the keyboard from good to great is the ability to set shortcuts to each and every single one of these letter keys. So I'm in here right now showing you how you can set this. Right now I've got the letter C set to open an application called Carrier Coverage. So you can set any of these keys to open an individual app, which for power users is great. So I'm on the home screen here, and if I just hold down the search button, which is right here, it's a software key, and I then press the C button, it'll open that application. So, and I'm right into this application called Carrier Coverage. Alright, so let's quickly tour the rest of the hardware. Up top we've got a 3.1-inch screen with 320 by 480 pixel resolution. It looks great, it fits in with the overall scheme of things, and just the total package looks really nice. Interestingly enough, you put it next to a monster phone like the Motorola Droid X right here, and it dwarfs the Droid Pro. I mean, it's like, really? That's wow. But as you'll find out, the 3.1-inch screen isn't a huge detractor and actually looks and works really well. Between the keyboard and the screen, you'll find Android's typical menu, home, back, and search keys, and these are touch-sensitive keys. On the bottom of the phone, you've got the mic. On the left side, you've got the micro USB port and the volume rocker. On the top, you've got the power button and the 3.5mm headset jack. On the right, you've got the dedicated calendar key. And just like the keyboard shortcuts, I can set this side key to open any application I want to. And here you can see you're pretty much selecting from the entire app tray. At the top here, we've got the speaker, and as you can see, that flashing LED indicator light. On the back, we've got the speakerphone and a 5-megapixel camera with dual LED flash and autofocus. To pop the phone open, you just take the bottom here and you'll see a little groove, and it snaps right off. Up here we've got the Microsd slot, and you can remove the Microsd card without removing the battery. You just push down this little tab and pull down the SD card. The global SIM card's up here, but to remove that you will need to remove the battery. It's a 1420 milliamp battery, and at the bottom here is a little slot that you can just pop it right open. This provides access to the SIM card slot, and it slides right out. It comes pre-installed with a Verizon Wireless and Vodafone SIM card, so it should work in pretty much any country that has Vodafone. However, you want to make sure to call Verizon Wireless and figure out, you know, the pricing and the roaming and all that stuff. But you will be able to use this phone in a lot of the countries around the world. The guts of the phone include a 1 GHz processor, 512 megabytes of RAM, and 2 gigabytes of ROM. Overall, it's a beautiful looking phone. Fits great in the hand and also in the pocket. So that's the hardware for the Motorola Droid Pro. One thing you'll immediately want to do when you get the Droid Pro is go into Menu, Settings, Wireless and Networks, Mobile Networks, Network Mode, and it comes by default as global. Now you're not roaming probably right when you get the phone. You're going to be in the United States, so you're going to be using CDMA. If you select CDMA, people have been reporting, and I can confirm it seems that way to me, that you'll get not only better call quality but better battery life. So definitely do that right when you get the phone. The Droid Pro is running Android 2.2, and when you combine it with the 1 GHz processor and the 3.1-inch screen with a little bit lower resolution that doesn't need as much power, it's pretty darn quick. And you can see with switching between screens, it's nice and smooth, but this is true throughout pretty much everything, web browsing, video, within the applications. It runs smoothly and it runs quickly, so that's a really good feature, and that probably a lot of that's thanks to Android 2.2. The Droid Pro comes with Motorola Blur, which is Motorola's custom UI for Android, and something they've added here is called profiles. So you've got 3 different profiles. Each of these profiles has 7 different home screens. So right now I'm on the work profile. I can switch over and use the home profile, and again, 7 screens here, and I can customize these however I want, and I can customize the work one however I want, and just switch in between them depending on what I'm currently doing. As with all Android devices, long press on the screen to add widgets and shortcuts, and if I select Motorola widgets, you can see some of the ones they've added here. Contact quick tasks, calendar, a whole bunch of different options. The Picture Frame Plus, which displays a slideshow of recent photos, which is pretty cool. Social networking, so you can really customize this, and Motorola's done a good job updating Blur, and I like it a lot more than I used to. One cool one's a sticky note, so you can go ahead and touch this. I can edit it and let's just do a quick one and say hi, and the note will be Fandroid rocks. Oops, there we go. Okay, and save that, and you can see it's on my home screen. Now you can resize these widgets. If you hold down, long press, and just let go, you can see the borders surround it now. Touch on the corner, and I can make it whatever size I want to. So I'll keep it at that size. But Motorola Blur now has new widgets, new resizable widgets, and the addition of profiles makes the Droid Pro a pretty good device, especially considering it's geared kind of towards corporate people, so you may want to have different settings, different widgets, different home screen settings depending on if you're at home, if you're at work, or what you're doing. A quick look at some of the apps that are pre-installed on the Droid Pro. You can see there's Backup Assistant, 3G Mobile Hotspot, we've got City ID, DLNA, a lot of the typical Google apps, which are great to have in there on default with maps and navigation and all that good stuff. My Verizon Mobile, which tracks your minutes and all that jazz. A Task Manager, which is new, and Quick Office for the corporate folks. VZ Navigator, they still have got in there, although Google Nav's in there as well. And NFS Shift, this game, which runs beautifully. Actually, I can't show you. I gotta wait for the multimedia part. Overall, the Droid Pro software is great, and that's because it runs Android 2.2, an up-to-date version of Android, on great hardware, so it's quick, and it works like it should, and I think that's the key. Another point is that Blur is starting to really work the way it should. It's got good widgets, they're resizable now, you've got profiles in there, and it's a really robust user experience. Alright, time for multimedia, which means I get to play games. The Droid Pro screen isn't huge, but using it you'd never know it. It's a great experience for a 3.1-inch screen. You'll see as I'm playing this game, it works really well. The screen is crisp and clear. It's 320 by 480 pixel resolution, but it's fun, works well, and it's no like a, whoa, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be talking on the phone while I'm driving. I think the key point here is that the Droid Pro is a pretty immersive multimedia experience. You wouldn't know that it was just a 3.1-inch screen unless you put it against the Droid X. I mean, this is looking pretty good, it's working pretty good, I'm enjoying it, and then you put it next to the Droid X, and then you're like, oh yeah, I can see how gaming might be better on that device. But by itself and running by itself, it works really well. Gaming is fun. Gaming's also super smooth, as long as you're not crashing into a billion walls. The same goes for YouTube videos. Welcome to another Fandroid app. And you can see I can put this in high quality, and we can watch some Fandroid Appcast. That is a huge tree. 1 out of every 2 years, the tree falls on my head somehow. And it's time to talk apps and games in the last speak on Android market. If you've got Comcast or Xfinity, you're going to be really happy. There's a new app on Android market. And so, let me turn this volume down real quick. But the video is clear and I mean, it's pretty good. It does its job. It serves its purpose. It loads quickly. The video is smooth, isn't choppy. So video's good. Web browsing was enjoyable too. One thing I thought was a little bit odd was the text did not seem to auto-justify, but pinching and zooming is smooth. Scrolling through articles worked really well. So it looks like if I pinch out and then change the landscape, then it will justify the text, which is weird. But in general, the web browsing experience is great. Fast, rendering great, just does what you expect it to do. Same goes for music. You open the music app and it just has what you want. I don't have any music on here now, so it doesn't really have what I want, but in terms of organization, you've got artists, you've got albums, you've got songs, playlists, genres, and you can change some audio effects, use party shuffle, or put it on shuffle all. So it's just simple, straightforward. By the way, the 3.5mm headset jack sounds great, so I really like that. The SD card's out now, but the audio was good. Again, just does what you think it should. So from a multimedia standpoint, nothing's going to blow you away, but on a 3.1-inch screen, the display and the experience is impressive. And I think that's the key there. It does what you want, and it does pretty much everything well. And you'll see that's true with the camera, which we'll talk about now. The 5-megapixel camera on the Droid Pro isn't amazing, but it's solid, and it does the trick for probably the stuff you'll want to take pictures of with your phone. And let me just open up the camera here. The one complaint I do have about the camera itself is that there's a lot going on. It is a 3.1-inch screen. I felt like they could kind of refactor the software and the display a little bit. You can see there's a lot going on, and then if I press the menu, there's even more going on. So it is fully featured. It has all the effects you'd want. You could change scenes and do everyday pictures, portraits of lots of people, daytime scenery, landscape stuff. So, then there's one weird thing. When you back out, it doesn't back you out of that menu. You've actually got to select stuff in there. So let me go back to the camera. And there's just kind of a lot of stuff going on. Of course, there's the digital zoom. I can zoom in, and really right now you can't really see what I'm zooming in and out of, but there's my hand. And I don't know, there is only a software camera button, but I would have just liked to see this reworked and made a little bit more efficient for the small screen size, so you got to see more of the picture. Maybe condense all the menu options by, pressing menu. Other than that, the camera itself takes pretty decent pictures. The daytime pictures are great in, good sunlight. Obviously, outside pictures with flash aren't going to work well unless you're up close to your subject, like a picture of a person or something. Indoor pictures were a little bit washed out and fuzzy, unless it was great lighting. A little bit dim lighting, and it started to get fuzzy. And of course, as you got closer to needing flash and using flash, they got really washed out. But it's kind of what you expect with a smartphone. And again, with the Droid Pro, a solid camera, nothing amazing, nothing that's going to blow you away, but for everyday phone use type of camera, it does the job. Also of note is that the Droid Pro comes with a charger in the box, but it's also got these 3 different attachments for use internationally. So it's a global phone. If you're going to be using it globally, you'll want to be able to plug your phone in. So it's got these attachments. You just fold down that like so, fit it right on there, and now you've got an international charger. And there are 2 other ones of these depending on what country you're in. Alright, so wrapping up, what is the bottom line on the Droid Pro? First of all, if you're a BlackBerry user who's wanted to try out Android, you need to check out this phone simply because it's the most BlackBerry-ish Android phone on the market. It looks beautiful, looks like a BlackBerry, works like a BlackBerry, but better because it's Android. If you're a portrait QWERTY fan, BlackBerry user or not, you'll also want to check out this phone because it's really the only Android portrait QWERTY phone out there worth looking at. It's a little bit close, but you get used to it. I had no problem typing pretty darn fast and accurately, and in addition, this shortcut key and button to open up apps and being able to set it wherever you want to is just awesome. If you're not a BlackBerry user and not a portrait keyboard type of person, you'll still want to take a look at the Droid Pro because it's such an all-around great phone. It's got hardware that's great, it's got software that's great, it runs quickly, it's a world phone, it just does a lot of stuff and does it well. It doesn't do anything absolutely amazing, but it does everything pretty darn good, and it's a great all-around phone. So definitely give the Motorola Droid Pro for Verizon Wireless a look, and if you're a BlackBerry user and you don't check this out, you better check your head, because this is the BlackBerry Android. To pop the phone open